Okay, today we're going to do 16.2, which is prisms and cylinders, and we're going to be finding the lateral area, the surface area, and the volume. So that's what we're doing today. I do want you to do the recall, so it says use the Pythagorean theorem to find. I'm going to tell you that C on this one should equal the square root of 113, so make sure you do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But for the sake of the length of this video, I'm not going to worry about it, but we will be using it probably tomorrow, maybe even today. This one, because x is a side, we're going to get that it equals the square root of 119. And then over here, we're back to the hypotenuse, and so that's going to equal 17. So you do the math for all of those, and then we will move on. So we're going to get into the lateral area, surface area, and volume of all these. So I just want to make sure that you make sure you're paying attention. We are going to give you a formula sheet, so that's going to be super helpful, but I'm just going to walk through these formulas to make sure you understand exactly what you're calculating. Okay, so the first one is lateral area. So for the lateral area, what you're calculating is the sum of the areas of all the lateral faces. So these are the not the bases is what I want to put here. Not base area. Okay? So you're not calculating the base area. So whenever you start these, you're always going to want to look for the lateral area, which is the side. So if I'm going to highlight the lateral area, here it's going to be this set of rectangles. That's the lateral area. And then in pink, you're going to see me highlight the bases. Okay, so on prisms, there's two equal shapes, and those are the bases. So to find the lateral area of a right prism, what you have to do is you have to calculate P, which is confusing because it's the base perimeter. You'll see why in a second, but you need the base perimeter. So in this example that we have, that's pink, and the height, which is actually going to come from the height of your triangle, your rectangle. We'll get into it, don't worry. I just want you to know, sometimes when I do base perimeter, I'll put BP and BP instead of H. And there's also other ways to calculate this. We'll kind of explore that when I have more time to do that. Okay, then we move on to the surface area. The surface area is the area of every shape that you actually touch. So it includes the lateral area, but it also includes the area of the bases. So you're basically just going to be adding up the lateral area with the two end cap areas. So again, surface area is this area. So you can see we kind of have three rectangles there. And then the area of these two bases. You're more than welcome to add it up instead of taking the area of one and doubling it, but it's a lot faster if we do it that way. And then if you want to find the volume, you're going to do the base area. So this B right here stands for base area. And then you're going to multiply it by the height. Okay, so we're going to work on some of those. And then for a cylinder, your lateral area is going to be same thing. It's actually the perimeter of the base times the height. So I just want to show you that right here. That the height is this guy right here, right? So this is what we're actually calculating is the lateral area. But what we have to do first is we have to look at the perimeter of the base. Well, what's the perimeter of a circle? The circumference, which is 2 pi r, and then multiply it by h. Same thing for cylinder with surface area. It's going to be the area of both the lateral area and the two bases. So again, think of lateral area as not base area. And then for the volume, it's going to be the area of the base. What's the area formula for a circle? That's going to be pi r squared and then times h, which is exactly that, but we actually put pi r squared in it since the base is a circle. All right, so we're just going to make a bunch of tables to help us get through this. So let's start with this right here. These are all prisms. Let's just be clear. Today we're doing all prisms. So it wants us to find the lateral area, the surface area, and the volume. Okay, so the easiest thing to do is just kind of make yourself a table. So we're going to do P, which most students think it's perimeter, but it's actually base perimeter. So if we find the base perimeter, and today, because we have rectangular prisms right here, we're going to call, we're going to call these guys down here, the base in here. So we're using those two. Rectangular prisms are special because they have 3 pairs of congruent sides, so you could rotate them, but for the purpose of this particular problem, we're going to call those the bases. So always highlight your bases first, and then we're going to find the perimeter of that base. So it's going to be 9 plus 5 plus 9 plus 5, which is going to be equal to 28. So we haven't calculated anything yet. All we've done is found the base perimeter. And then from the base perimeter, we also need the height. So let's go ahead and figure out the height. Okay. I'm going to change a little bit of notation on here just because I don't want it to be confusing later. But instead of putting P like that, the base right there, I'm going to put PB. I'm going to make it like a little subscript like when we did logarithms, just so that we don't get confused. Okay, H, what's the height? Well, the height is this guy right here. That's 14. Okay, so once the other thing that we should figure out is the base area. So I'm going to put BA. So the base area for this is 9 times 5, which is 45. And these are all, this one's centimeters squared because we multiplied, but these are all one-dimensional. Okay, so now that we have all these things that we might need in the formulas up above, we can look at our lateral area, which we just call L. And the lateral area is P times H. So that's just going to be 28 times the height of 14. Okay, so let me just pull up the calculator real quick so that we can see. And we have 28 times 14, which is 392. So this right here, the lateral area of the right prism is going to be 392. And then our surface area is going to be, what does it say that the formula is? The surface area formula is L plus 2B. So we're going to take our lateral, which is 392 centimeters squared, and add it times 2 times the base area. And remember, we already calculated the base area right there, so that was nice and easy. And both of these are centimeters squared, so we get 392 plus 90, which is 482. And the reason why we're multiplying it by 2 is because we have 2 bases. So this one is going to be 482 centimeters squared. And then last but not least, we have the volume, and using that volume formula way up here, which is just the base area times the height, we get the base area, which we already calculated was 45 centimeters squared. And then, hold on, I'm just gonna do this. I just want you guys to see centimeters squared, and then the height is 14 centimeters squared. And because volume is three-dimensional, we're going to get our number for that. So we had 45 times 14, which is 630. So that's going to be 630 centimeters squared. Okay, so now I'm going to start to go through these a little faster now that we know each thing, but the very first step in all of them is to figure out where our bases are. So that's what I'm going to start with the next one. So 2 end caps. So these are the bases because there's 3 rectangles and 2 triangles. So the triangles are the bases. Okay, guys? So it's just super important to be able to figure that out. So let's go ahead and go up here. So we have the perimeter of the base, which because this is a triangle, I'm going to put 26 centimeters here, 26, 10, and 24. 26 plus 24 plus 10, and that's going to equal 60 centimeters. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is just make sure I know the height of this shape. The height is the one you didn't use when you calculated the base. So that's just 8 centimeters. And the next thing I'm going to do is calculate the base area. Formula for a circle is in triangles, 1/2 base times height. So that's 1/2. And the base on this one is going to be 24 of the triangle, and the height is right here. It's 10 because this, even though it's not written, is a right triangle. So it's not the height of the shape of the overall shape, it's the height of that. So 24 times 10, which is going to be 120 centimeters squared. And now we're just going to plug those all in. So our lateral area is P times H, so that's 60 times 8, which is going to give me 480 centimeters squared. Our surface area is taking that 480 and adding 2 times 8 because of that base area, not height. 2 times 120, so that's going to give me 720 centimeters squared. And then finally, the volume is going to be B times H. So my base area is 120 times 8, and that gives me 960 centimeters cubed. Okay, now we're going to do the cylinder. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one and all the pieces that we need. So we need the perimeter of the base, and you can see the base is in the shape of a circle, so that's going to be 2 pi r. And since we have from the center out, we know that that radius is 4, so it's going to be 2 pi times 4, which is 8 pi. Then we need the height, we can see that right here, that's 10 centimeters. Then we need the base area. Pi r squared is the formula for area, so that would be pi times 4 squared, so that's 16 pi centimeters squared, because area is always 2, or to the second power. And then from there, it's the same old lateral area is the base perimeter times the height. So we're just going to go base perimeter, or the is 8 pi times the height of 10, and both of those are centimeters squared, so 80 pi centimeters squared. Then we have the surface area, which is going to be just the lateral area, and then which we just found, and the base 2 times the base areas because we have 2 bases. So that's going to be 80 pi plus the base area, which we found right up here. So that's going to be plus 16 pi So that's 96 pi centimeters squared. And the last one is the volume. And the volume is just going to be the base area times the height. So we know the base area of a circle we just did was 16 pi, and then the height was 10. So that's 160 pi, and volume's always cubed. Okay? Now let's go ahead and look at the back side of this. So example 2 says an aluminum can is a right cylinder. Find the amount of paper needed for the can's label and the total amount of aluminum needed to make the can. Okay, so for this one, anytime we're doing anything, first thing we're going to do is identify our bases. So again, those are, with prisms, there's two equal shapes. So in this case, it's the ends of the can. This can's on its side, and it wants us to find the amount of paper needed for the can's label. So there's no paper on the bases, so that's just asking for the lateral area. So that's L, and the total amount of aluminum needed to make the can. So when you make a can, that's going to be the surface area, because volume is what include whatever's inside. Like if you filled the whole can up and it was just like a can of aluminum, that would be volume, but it's just asking us for the outside part, so that is going to be the surface area. So we're just going to set up, and we get to just skip that last one that we did before. So this is the base, and then we need the height, and then we need the base area, and then we also need the lateral and the surface area. So we can figure all this out real quickly. The perimeter of the base is going to be the circumference, so it's 2 pi r. And if this whole distance right here is 72, then the distance to the center is 36 millimeters, because that's half of 72. So that's going to be 2 pi times 36, which is going to be 72 pi. So that's the perimeter of the base. The height is here. The can is on its side, so you just have to realize where to find that. The base area, so the bases are circles, so the formula is pi r squared. So we're just going to do, it will be pi times 36 squared, which when you do the math for that, you get 1,296 pi. So now we just have to do the lateral area. Again, you're going to have the formula. So the lateral area of any prism is the perimeter of the base times the height. So that would be 72 pi. And then the height is 90. And both of these first two are millimeters, and this is millimeters squared. So because both of these are millimeters and millimeters, you're going to multiply them together, and you're going to get 6,480 pi millimeters squared. But just so you know, sometimes they're asked for that in decimal form, so then all you're going to do is change that to 3.14, and in your calculator it would look like this. So it's 6480, and then you're going to hit the pi button, and then you'll get that answer right there. Okay, so just wanted to show you that. So that's 20,000, and then 357.5 millimeters squared. And then your surface area is when you add up your lateral area plus 2 times your bases. So that's going to be adding up your lateral area you just found, and then 2 times your base area, which was 1296. And so when you add those together, and both of those have unit measurements of millimeters squared, and then we're just combining like terms, so we're not going to make it to the fourth. The highest one you'll do in any of these is to the third because that would be three-dimensional. And then again, we could plug this in our calculator to get a decimal equivalent by substituting pi for 3.14. That's how much aluminum they would need. Okay, so here, this one, they say a gift box is a right prism. Find the total amount of paper needed to wrap the box, not counting any overlap that you might do. So again, you get your choice with these to pick the bases, and they just need to be congruent. And a rectangular prism is unique is that you have 3 pairs of congruent sides of congruent rectangles, but I'm just gonna use these as my 2 bases. You could do it a different way, and we do on the test take that into account and have more than just one answer. So perimeter of the base, then we just have to locate the height. Then we have the base area, and then we have, what does it say? Find the total amount of paper needed to wrap the box, not counting overlap. So all that's going to be is surface area, because we want to make sure we get the whole box covered. But if we just need surface area, if you recall, surface area is always lateral plus 2 times the base. So we're going to want to make sure we get that lateral area in there. So the perimeter is going to be 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 5, which is 18 inches. And then we're going to go next to the height, which is 19. Again, if you change the sides, it's going to get a different answer, but all in all, the lateral or the surface area will be the same because it includes everything. So the base area is going to be 19 times 5 because that is, sorry, that's not 19 times 5. That's 4 times 5 because we have our base highlighted in purple, which is 20 inches squared. And then the lateral area is just going to be the perimeter of the base times the height. So that's just going to be 18 times 19, which is 342. So it's going to be 342 inches squared. And then to find our surface area, we're just going to take that number and then make sure we add in the base area and then multiply it by 2 since we have 2 bases. So that is going to be 382 inches squared because it's an area. Okay. All right. Moving on up, we're almost done with this. It says find the lateral surface and volume of a hexagonal prism. So let's see what we can do here. So we have our formulas that we get to plug into. The perimeter of the base is going to be each of these right here, according to this, is going to be each of these sides, because it's a hexagonal pyramid, is going to be 8, and so the perimeter would be 6 of those 8. So that would be 48 meters. Then we have the height is 9 meters. Then we need the base area, and this is where it gets tricky because we have to use our knowledge of hexagons. So what this picture is showing is a cut from the base. So we know that this is 8 right here. And then this picture is telling us that the height of the perpendicular is 6.5. So the area of just one of these triangles, so if I just look at this one, the area of that triangle is 1/2 base times height, which is 1/2 8 times 6.5, which gives me, let me do that. 0.5 times 8 times 6.5. 26. Okay. So the area of one of these triangles is 26, but I have 6 triangles. So the area of all 6 triangles, which would be my base area, is 6 times 26, which is 156. So this is 156 meters squared. So we just had to be a little bit more creative with how we found the base area there, but it's nothing new. Our lateral area is the base perimeter times the height, which is 48 meters times 9 meters, which gives me 432 meters squared. Surface area, which you'll see them just label that S, is going to be the lateral area plus 2 times the base. So that's 432 meters squared plus that base, 2 times that base area of 156 meters squared, which would give me 744 meters squared. And then finally you have your volume, and you should know this should be meters cubed, where you just take your base area, which we found up here is 156 meters squared, and multiply it by the height. And the height was 9 meters, and you can see you're going to end up with meters cubed because you have 3 of them. So that's 1,404 meters cubed. Okay, so this one right here now says to find the lateral area and surface area of a cylinder with a base of 36 pi r squared. And then it says the height is 2 centimeters less than the radius. So you have to work backwards, and just like everything, the formulas are reversible. So first thing I'm going to do is draw a picture. You have a cylinder here, and the base is 36 pi centimeters squared. That's the area of the base. And then they tell you that the height is 4. So you have to work backwards, but let's see what information we can get. They just want us to find the lateral and surface area. So perimeter area, we'll get to that, or perimeter of the base we'll get to in a second. We know the height is 4. We know the base area is 36 pi centimeters squared. And then lateral area, surface area, and they don't ask us for the volume. So they tell us that the area of one of the bases is 36 pi, right? And so we know that that equals area is pi r squared. So the pi's are already equal, so we can use that property of equality to say, oh, we already have those. So what does r have to equal? So we would just square root, and r would need to equal 6, and that's going to be centimeters because that's our unit. So in order to find the perimeter, we needed the radius, and we just found it using the given information. So 2 pi times 6, which is 12 pi, and that's centimeters. And now we can find the lateral area, which is just the perimeter times the height. So that's 12 pi centimeters times 4 centimeters, which is going to be 48 pi centimeters squared. And then the last one is surface area, which is the lateral area, and then you throw in both bases. So this is going to be 48 pi centimeters squared. And then because there's 2 bases and one base is 36 pi centimeters squared, so we're going to double it because we have 2 bases. And then we're going to end up with 120 pi centimeters squared for that right there. And we're not doing the volume, so we won't have to worry about that. Last one here, find the height. So let's make sure we know we're going to be looking for the height of a rectangular prism. whose surface area, so that's the whole thing, is 392 meters squared. And it has a length of 8 centimeters and a width of 5 centimeters. Okay, so let's do our formula. So first of all, just make sure that you guys kind of have a rectangular prism in your mind. There you go. There's a rectangular prism. And I'm going to go ahead and say that we always label our bases first. So this one and this one are going to be my bases. You could pick other ones, but I think that one's going to be easiest because we know that this is 8 meters and this is 5 meters. So it says find the height. So we're going to be working backwards in here because normally we are given the height. So our perimeter is 8 plus 8 plus 5 plus 5, our base perimeter, which is, what is that? That's going to be 26 meters. And then we're looking for the height. We'll get to there. And then we need the base area. Oops. The base area is just going to be 8 times 5. That's super easy to find. So it's going to be 40 meters squared. And then we have the lateral area and we have the surface area. And the surface area, they tell us, we know, is the lateral area plus 2 times the base area, right? And lateral area is P times H. So let's combine these and watch what we do here. So they tell us that the surface area is 392 meters squared, right? And we know that surface area is lateral area plus the 2 base areas. But we're looking for the height, and we don't know the lateral area, but we know that the way you find lateral area is taking the perimeter and multiplying it by the height. So now what we're just going to do is substitute in all that we can. So the perimeter is 26, but we don't know H, and we do know that the base area is 40. And then we're just going to solve for H. So subtract 80. So 312 equals 26H. And we're going to go 312 divided by 26, which equals 12. Interesting. So this one is going to be H equals 12, and our unit is meters. And that's it.